What if the person you just disrespected holds the power to change your entire life? Imagine a security guard who learns this lesson the hardest way possible. Stick around to see the jaw-dropping moment when a guard's prejudice clashes with the shocking reality of who they're really dealing with. This is a story of arrogance, judgment, and the sweet taste of justice, one that will leave you questioning how you treat strangers. Subscribe to the channel to see how the story unfolds. Let us know in the comments where you are watching from. It was a rainy Monday morning. A woman named Olivia stepped into the lobby of a towering glass skyscraper. She wore a simple black dress, her hair tied back neatly, and no jewelry except a small silver bracelet. She looked like any other visitor. No flashy car. No assistant trailing behind her. Just, ordinary. But Olivia wasn't ordinary. She was the newly appointed CEO of the company that owned that very building. And yet, the man at the front desk, the security guard, Peterson, didn't see power. He saw someone he believed didn't belong. "Excuse me," he barked, raising a hand. "This entrance is for executives only. Deliveries go through the side door." Olivia blinked. She wasn't carrying a package. She wasn't in uniform. But Peterson didn't care. He eyed her with suspicion, his lips curling into a smirk. "You lost? Or just trying your luck where you don't belong?" The words cut sharp. But Olivia stayed calm. She simply replied, "I have a meeting upstairs." Peterson chuckled. "A meeting? With who?" "The janitor." Behind her, a few employees chuckled nervously, hurrying past without saying a word. Olivia lowered her eyes. She could have pulled rank. She could have flashed her ID. But instead, she decided to wait. Because sometimes, silence is the sharpest weapon. Peterson refused to let her pass. "I'm not repeating myself," he said firmly. "Side entrance. Now." He grabbed the rope barrier and pulled it across, blocking her way. Olivia felt the sting of humiliation as people stared. Some whispered. Others shook their heads. No one intervened. To Peterson, she was invisible. Disposable. Not worth respect. Little did he know, she owned the building he was guarding. And his arrogance was about to cost him everything. Just then, another man entered the lobby, Mr. Douglas, the company's CFO. He spotted Olivia instantly, his face lighting up. "Olivia. You're here early," he said warmly, striding over to shake her hand. Peterson froze. His smirk faltered. "Wait, you know her?" he asked. Douglas frowned. "Know her? She's our new CEO. Didn't you get the memo?" The lobby fell silent. The employees who had laughed earlier now stood frozen, eyes wide. And Peterson looked like the ground had just crumbled beneath him. His voice trembled. "CEO." Olivia finally raised her eyes, meeting his with calm steel. "Yes," she said softly. "The one you just told to use the side door." Peterson's face drained of color. The arrogance melted into desperation. He stumbled over his words. "Ma'am, I didn't mean," but Olivia raised her hand. "You didn't need to mean it. You chose it. You judged me without knowing who I was. Without respect. Without basic decency." Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of authority. The kind that silences a room. Employees who once hurried past now watched with a mix of awe and guilt. The underdog had just revealed herself as the most powerful figure in the room. And Peterson's fate hung by a thread. Olivia didn't shout. She didn't gloat. She simply turned to Douglas and said, "Let's have a conversation later, about how our staff treats people at the door." Peterson's knees nearly buckled. He knew what that meant. This wasn't just embarrassment. This was his job. His reputation. His entire livelihood dangling by the choices he made in a matter of seconds. The irony was brutal. The very person he dismissed as unworthy, held the power to decide his future. As Olivia walked past him, unblocked, unquestioned this time, she left him with words that cut deeper than any punishment. Remember, respect is free. But disrespect can cost you everything. The lobby was silent. No one dared move. Peterson stood frozen, the reality sinking in. He had judged the wrong person, in the worst way, at the worst possible time. But as much as Peterson thought his world was falling apart, Olivia's was only just beginning. Because while she had won this moment, the boardroom upstairs was waiting, filled with executives who doubted her leadership, whispered behind her back, and plotted her downfall. The security guard's prejudice was just the beginning. Would Olivia's strength and dignity be enough to survive the war awaiting her in the shadows of power? Or would the people at the top prove even more dangerous than the ones at the door? Last time, a security guard humiliated Olivia at the doors of her own building, only to discover she was the new CEO. But if Peterson thought that was the end of the story, he was wrong. Because while Olivia had faced disrespect in the lobby, far bigger storms were waiting for her upstairs, storms that could cost her the company, her reputation, and maybe even her dream. Olivia walked into the boardroom with quiet confidence. Around the long oak table sat men in expensive suits, each older, each seasoned, each looking at her not with respect, but with skepticism. She could feel it. The smirks. The raised brows. The whispered comments just before she entered. "Gentlemen," she greeted. "Shall we begin?" The chairman, Mr. Grayson, leaned back in his chair, his voice dripping with condescension. "Of course, Ms. Carter. Or should I say, Madam CEO. Let's see if you're as capable in here as you were in the lobby." The room chuckled softly. But Olivia didn't flinch. She had fought too hard to let them see fear. The meeting began. Olivia presented bold new strategies, ideas to modernize the company, invest in innovation, and expand globally. But at every turn, she was interrupted. "That's unrealistic. That's too risky. Do you even understand how this industry works?" The irony burned. The same woman they called visionary in the press was being treated as clueless in her own boardroom. And then came the dagger. Mr. Grayson smirked and said, "Perhaps we rushed this appointment. Maybe you're not quite ready to lead at this level." The words were a challenge. An insult. And a warning. Olivia paused. She scanned the room, letting the silence stretch until even the smug executives shifted uncomfortably. Then, with steady voice, she said, "When I walked into this building today, I was told I didn't belong. I was told to use the side door. And yet, here I am, leading this meeting. Do you know why?" No one answered. "Because I've been underestimated my entire life. And every single time, I proved people wrong. You think I don't understand this industry? I've lived it. You think my ideas are risky? So was founding this company when everyone said it would fail. And yet, here we are, in the tallest tower in the city." The room fell silent. But behind the silence, was resistance. What Olivia didn't know was that Grayson and several board members had already been plotting. They wanted her to fail. Why? Because her rise to CEO wasn't just about business. It was about breaking barriers. Olivia was the youngest, the first woman, and the first black CEO in the company's history. And for men like Grayson, that was a threat. So they devised a plan, push her ideas through, let them fail, then force her out. Olivia was walking into a trap, and didn't even know it. Meanwhile, downstairs, Peterson sat at his desk, his world crumbling. He had spent years working security, priding himself on his instincts. But today, his instincts had betrayed him. Every glance from employees was a reminder. Whispers followed him. "That's the guy who insulted the CEO. He wanted to apologize, but the damage was done. And soon, he would discover just how much his fate was tied to hers. Back in the boardroom, Olivia sensed something was off. The too quick agreements. The smiles that didn't reach their eyes. The way Grayson kept steering the conversation. Then she caught a phrase scribbled on a notepad across the table: set her up. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just doubt. This was sabotage. And suddenly, she realized, she wasn't just fighting for respect. She was fighting for survival in a company that wanted her gone before she even began. Olivia left the meeting with her head high, but inside, she was shaken. The guard had tried to bar her from the lobby. The board was trying to bar her from power. And as she stepped into the elevator, she whispered to herself, they want to fight? They'll get one. But she had no idea, the war coming her way.